This video is a part of the Parliamentary Procedure series and has been organized to explain the basic definitions of parliamentary procedure. Parliamentary procedure and rules take into account the often conflicting interests that develop during meetings and provide procedures that ensure decisions are made fairly. It originates from Robert's Rules of Order. Robert was a general who, after getting out of the military, found that meetings were not run very efficiently. He created these rules to streamline the process, and the rules have since been adopted as a leading guide for parliamentary procedure. There are many different parts to parliamentary procedure. Constitution defines the basic structure and regulations of an organization, including name, purpose for existing, membership, qualifications, etc. All organizations have constitutions, including Alpha Kappa Psi. When hearing constitution, you should also think statutory code for our organization, as both are included in the same document. Bylaws are basic regulations governing the organization. Outside of our organization, it may be common thought to think of the Constitution and bylaws as one and the same, but per our governing documents, bylaws typically refer to the chapter bylaws, while the Constitution refers to the rules set for the entire fraternity. Standing rules are details concerning the administration of the organization. These rules are based on motions that have been passed and adopted by the chapter over time, specifically related to policy and administration. They do not need to be voted on every time and can still be upheld. Rules of order are written rules of procedure for conducting meetings in an orderly manner. Alpha Kappa Psi has adopted Robert's Rules of Order as the parliamentary authority for meetings and is stated in Article 7, Section 3 of the Constitution. This means Robert's Rules of Order should be followed when conducting official business. Quorum is the minimum number of members who must be present in order to hold and conduct a business meeting. This can vary by organization. However, for the fraternity, we use a simple majority, or 50% plus 1 of members in good standing. If you do not have 50% plus 1 members in good standing present at a meeting, you cannot conduct business until this requirement is met. This is stated in Article 4, Section 2 of the Constitution. A motion is a formal proposal to take action. Motions are made during meetings at varying times. A question is another name for a motion after it has been seconded by an individual and restated. The presiding officer is also known as the chair of the meeting and is the meeting leader who ensures the rules are being observed. Normally, this individual will be the president of the chapter, but if the president is not present, unavailable, or unwilling to be chair at any meeting, the next individual in the line of succession becomes the presiding officer. In a student chapter, this would most likely be the vice president of administration. When following parliamentary procedure, there are principles that should also be followed. Parliamentary procedure should be used for the facilitation, not the obstruction of business. It should not hinder the progression of a meeting in any way, but instead streamline and effectively help the meeting and the business being conducted. To aid in the flow of the meeting, you should only address one main issue at a time. This controls the conversation in the room and can help focus the attention on the issue. With only one issue posed at a time, it can also help deter conversation from getting off track and members losing sight of what the issue is actually about. All members have the right to know the meaning of the motion before the assembly and to know what its effect will be on the chapter. This is very important to lay out, as each individual needs to feel comfortable about what they are voting on before the vote takes place so they can appropriately make their decision. Justice and courtesy should be extended to every member. All members have the right to ask for clarification or bring up a point of discussion. The minority has an equal right to speak on the issue and to be heard in full, fair, and equitable debate. While the minority has the right to speak and should speak on their grievances about the issue, it is also important to remember the majority will make the final decision. Each voting member has one vote, and the votes of all voting members are counted equally. Parliamentary procedure does not allow for absentee voting or voting by proxy. If you are not present at the meeting the vote is taken, nobody is able to make a vote on your behalf, and you do not get a vote. The desires of individuals must also be merged into the desires of the organization. The ideas presented should align with the priorities and focus of the organization and not individual agendas, because if adopted, the instituted rules will affect the chapter as a whole. Keeping these principles in mind will help you as you execute parliamentary procedure. Knowing the basic definitions and rules of parliamentary procedure are not necessarily enough. There are minimum requirements that must be in place in order for a meeting to occur. In order to carry out business, you must have 3 things: quorum as defined in the organization bylaws, a presiding officer to lead the meeting, and a secretary to take minutes. Without these 3 things, you cannot conduct your meeting. Quorum is not enough and is often a misnomer among people that is all you need. If your presiding officer is not present or unable to attend, you should follow your succession chain of command to step into the role for the meeting. Additionally, you must have someone to take accurate meeting minutes. This is the job of the secretary. However, in his or her absence, you must have someone else fill in for this role to conduct business. For additional information, please visit the website or contact your chapter educational resource coordinator at the Heritage Center. For assistance in determining the coordinator for your region, please visit www.aksi.org/staff. Thank you for listening to this program. If you have suggestions for future webinar or e-learning topics, ways to improve this program, please email these to education@aksi.org.